My name is Yasmin Ramadan. I work at Mazars. I've been at Mazars for about 2 years, and I work in the cyber attack and defense team as a senior ethical hacker. My career started completely by accident. I came in for an interview at Mazars for a technology consultant role, which was an IT audit role, and the director that was supposed to interview me had another meeting or an appointment, so the director of attack and defense interviewed me as well, instead of. And funny enough, part of my interview was preparing a presentation, and I had prepared my presentation on the use of passwords and how I think passwords are becoming stagnant and defunct. And it all came from a book that I'd read by this man called Frank Abagnale. There's a movie about him called Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio. It's a very good movie, and he wrote a book, and he works now for the FBI. And he held a talk at Google about passwords, and it just really interested me, so I made my presentation about that. So yeah, completely by accident. So my role as a senior ethical hacker entails many different types of engagements. We have phishing engagements, red teams. I'm involved mainly with the testing portion of the engagements, not necessarily the scoping. As I progress further in my career, then I'll be able to begin scoping with clients. I'm also involved in more traditional penetration testing engagements. So we have web application testing, external and internal testing. I do a bit of everything. I think when I started it was definitely daunting because there's so much to learn, and I think any penetration tester will tell you that you never stop learning. And I think as I progress more, that's become the best thing about it, is that no engagement is the same. Even though you're running, the same tools, there's always something that comes out that's different. And it's just every engagement is so unique. And with every engagement, you learn more and more, and you become more confident in yourself. So, and another aspect of it is that there's so much opportunity. If you, further down the line want to change your career path, you can do that really easily with the knowledge that you've taken being a penetration tester. So it really is a career for the future, I would say. They definitely don't picture someone like me, and that's played up to my advantage, because when we do physical intrusions, where we break into people's buildings as a part of a red team, I'm able to walk in pretty easily because I just don't look like the traditional, Mr. Robot kind of hacker with the hood. I think another misconception is that you have to have a background in cybersecurity, which is completely false. I didn't come from a background in cybersecurity, and a lot of testers that I know that are really good also didn't. So definitely don't be afraid to apply. Most skill sets are transferable. There's so much that you can pick up online and learn from. So I think, yeah, those would be the two misconceptions. I see cybersecurity evolving in a few ways. Going back to my initial point about passwords. So I did that interview about 3 years ago where I spoke about how passwords are stagnant, how as a whole we've evolved so much, not just in cybersecurity, but in the computers that we use, the phones that we use. We've evolved so much, but passwords is still something that we rely on too much. And the individual I spoke about in my first question, Frank Abagnale, talks about how he sees the future of passwords being QR codes or biometrics, so your face, your fingerprint, whatever it is. So I definitely see passwords slowly and surely becoming eradicated. Throughout my work as an ethical hacker, passwords have been, the number one problem that we have, whether it's password reuse, whether it's really bad passwords. We're only human, so we tend to make the same passwords, and we tend to make them, something we can remember. Another way is that with the evolution of cloud and everyone moving to the cloud and everyone becoming paperless because of sustainability, we're going to see more data leaks, I think, in the future, just because there'll be more intellectual property that is available to people online. You can only do so much with a piece of paper, but you can definitely do a lot more with something that's stored in a server somewhere in any country. So I think the two things would be passwords disappearing and being replaced with something more reliable and more stringent, and then data leaks becoming more prominent. So my advice would be, don't let yourself get overwhelmed. Take it one step at a time. There's so much to learn, and if you try and overload yourself with everything, you're just doing yourself a disservice. So start somewhere. I everyone always said to me, start at networking, learn the OSI model, understand subnets and things like that. With resources, it honestly comes down to the individual. I really like podcasts and YouTubers. It depends on how you like to learn. I would say that don't read something once and expect that you've understood it. Try and find different avenues and read it multiple times. I think I read somewhere that it takes 3 months for you to become an expert at something. So it definitely takes time to really, take in all the knowledge, and don't be disheartened by maybe not understanding it initially. It can be quite complicated. So yeah, find a resource that you really enjoy. Definitely try putting that into practice with Hack the Box, for example. That's something really fun. Trying different things like that. Just take it one step at a time and don't rush yourself just because you're seeing other people passing exams and succeeding. You got to take it, with how you would be able to handle it.